Good evening, Facebook family. This is your girl, Lakeisha Mosley, your favorite digital event strategist for the LM Experience. And I'm here with my sidekick, Claudia, and I got my other sidekick over here on Clubhouse, Lila. What's happening, ladies?
Hello. Good evening, everyone.
What's up, Lila?
Hey.
Can y'all hear Lila? So, they can hear you. Yes, yes, they can hear you. So, we are so excited tonight. We want to bring to the stage some of our amazing speakers. So, first of all, Claudia, if they ain't seen this lineup of folks we bringing
Ciao.
from people to profits, yeah, okay.
Yes. Yes, we definitely have a great lineup of people. If you are an author, an aspiring author, or maybe you even have a book that you've already written and you have no idea what to do with it, how to turn that book into profit, this is the conference for you to plug into to a great lineup of writers,
Right.
authors, publishers, literary agents. Anybody who has something to do with making your book successful is going to be at this conference, giving you inspiration tips to just make you soar and then really turn that book into profit. So I'm
Exactly.
totally excited for this.
Me too. Me too. Lila, what's your biggest takeaway? Like, what makes you excited about this entire thing?
Um, to be completely honest, I've always wanted to be an author. I've always wanted to write, but I'm just not really good with my words. So I like writing down my words. I'm good with words speaking out, but sometimes I get in trouble.
Right.
And I may not say the right thing. So in order for me to hear it from professionals and get the right wording and content, that's what I need, and that's gonna be my biggest takeaway from it.
Right. And I'm excited. I'm excited, y'all. Now, this is the funny part. My team know I have zero desire to write a book. Claudia gonna kill me for saying that, but I don't. I don't know. I don't know what it is. However, I know events, and I know that a lot of my friends and a lot of my associates are at a standstill. Claudia and Lala, like they don't know what to do. It's something called COVID outside. So number one, we can't gather more than 10, because it's this deadly disease. But they got this prized possession in their hand. They got a gold mine in their hand. And so what I can do is help them put them paper to profits. And so hence we have this conference. So before we bring our guests, because I'm so excited for y'all to see them, I want to shout out my girl, Janae McKenzie. This is her shirt, hella black, hella blessed, and hella proud. She is fashioned in favor. She is a Christian t-shirt maker. Oh, baby, she is the bomb. And she's one of my homegirls from Work University. So I wanted to shout her out because this shirt is amazing and I love, love, love how it feels. I'm like, yes, this is the bomb. Also, I want to thank our title sponsor, Swagger Magazine. I've been rocking with Swagger for some years, 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 years. And I definitely can say that they have helped the growth of our company that just from the last year has grown exponentially. Like it's just amazing the growth that we've experienced. And so I definitely want to thank them for being a part of our conference. And we have a featured sponsor, which is the Black Travel Network by my girl Coriel. So two people will win a travel certificate. Okay, so where y'all going? Because y'all need to take your girl with you. Listen, I'll fly out somewhere. But two lucky people who have registered, which means what? You need to go get your tickets. And in light of everything, we took away the name your own price and we made it free. Like there's no reason why now, if you got a notebook sitting there, you got words in your head that you need to get out, you need to be a part of this conference, definitely. So, Claudia, I think we need to bring our guests because we done made them wait long enough. You think?
I think it's time.
Okay, let's bring our guests to the stage. All right now, all right now. Look at all this magic over here.
Yes.
There we go. Yes, ma'am. So, Lala, we have brought our people to the stage. I am going to have them introduce themselves. We will start with you, Miss Paula, because I'm loving that wall behind you. You on mute, boo?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Awesome. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for that awesome intro. Again, my name is Paula, and I have been an author now for the past 8 years. Started out in the beauty industry for now 30 years, so I'm probably one of the OGs on here. But I am a 3-time best-selling author. Have another project coming out on Friday, but the main one that I'm going to be talking about for the event is The Roots of Our Hair.
All right. I'm excited. So for those of you who are like, well, I'm in the beauty industry and I can't write a book, my girl's going to show you that you can write a book. All right. You next, my dear. Kaisha. Am I pronouncing that?
You did. Yes, you did. So I can't see what order it goes in. So
Okay.
No, I am so, look, to myself, I was like, they let me up in this room and I'm not going to tell nobody that I don't belong here, but I'm going to just be up in here with y'all today. So I'm so excited. I am Kaisha. My company is True Statement Publication. My company stands on truth, reflection, and unity. I support everyone in the truth of their reality where they are right now, the reflection of their past, and uniting together to build a community so that way they can get their story out and know they're supported. My comfort of all of my clients, they all have a unique story. They've been sitting on a book for at least 8 years. They all have the same story. So that's like my little niche right now. But that's who God has sent to me. So that's me in a nutshell. And that's what I do. And my love is to get these stories and specifically testimonies out. So that's me.
I love it. Thank you, Miss Lorinda.
Hey, it's Lala. My name is Lorinda Andujar. I go by Lala. I am a class clown all the way. I am a founder of Heal the City Inc. and She Blinked LLC. I'm an author, a John Maxwell coach and speaker, and I'm a grief recovery specialist. I'm a mom, and I'm just like an overall clown. So I'm just glad to be here.
Thank you. Mr. Tony.
Good evening. I am super excited to be with you guys tonight. I am Tony Purnell. I refer to myself as the light worker. There's a lot of darkness in the world, right? But I believe that we can all have a little bit of light, and any little bit of light can eliminate any piece of darkness. I am a psychotherapist by training. I have my own practice, and actually, I just wrote my debut book. I released it on January 25th, my birthday, and so I'm super excited about my Master Manifester. You can literally manifest the life that you want intentionally, and so that's what my book is about. And I'm super excited to have you, Lakeisha. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. He said light. Yeah. Okay. I'm sure ready. Yes, sir. Miss Tiara Nicole.
Hey. Yes, so I'm Tiara Nicole Riley, motivational speaker, a 4-time published author, and also a co-founder of a publishing company called Life Beyond Present. So super excited to be the keynote speaker for this event. I think I know a little bit about publishing a book, just a little bit, just a little bit. But I have published a book every year for the past 4 years. So I am on target to reach that goal of every year, a new book every year. Super excited for this. We're going to talk about roadblocks through the writing process, what the publishing process looks like, and most importantly, answer questions. So if you are coming to my section, please bring questions. I love questions.
This girl be pumping out books like mixtapes, okay? So I'm just saying, she on number 459, right? I'm just saying. Dr. Erica, welcome.
Thank you. So I'm Dr. Erica Gamble. I'm actually a college professor by trade. I've been teaching for over 20 years. I am a dissertation coach, so I specifically work with students who are working on PhDs, doctorate degrees. And so that's where my love of obviously writing came from. But I also am the owner of the Wig Dr. Wig Boutique. So in my second life, I am helping those that have cancer, alopecia, and hair loss get through it. So I'm excited because I feel like people really need to use their voice. And so my workshop is about using your voice and how to do that. A lot of people want to write, but they're afraid to either use their voice or they don't know what to say. So I'm excited. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Miss Teresa.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. I'm so happy to be here. Oh, I have going on, but I think I'm going to try to narrow it down to just a little bit. So I am a 4-book author. This year, I'm celebrating the 10-year anniversary of my first book. I write children's books and adult novels, which is a little hard to say, well, how can you go to the end, but then also go to that racy end? I use different pen names. That's how during the day, I am a therapist, like Miss. I am a light worker, so of a vibration analysis. I'm one of those moon and star people that are able to read energy. And so when I someone about writing, I go to them and I teach them how to reach their highest potential to write that book. So in the conference, I'm going to be doing an adult novel, which is absolutely free, and talk about the introduction to the second adult novel.
All right, and we're gonna talk about that wild sis too in just a few, but thank you. Miss Shanika. You on mute, boo.
How did you pronounce my name again?
Did I say Shanika?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you perfect now. At first you was on mute.
Sorry. So my name is Shaniki Corbett, and I am a new author. Just published this year with a group of women. I'm still standing, and I am also the owner of Deja Vu Skin, and me and my family create products for men, women, and kids. And we also promote self-care, which I'm gonna be checking on you for since you ain't been doing it right.
Yes.
But that
Yes.
is, I'm honored to be here with such beautiful women.
Thank you. Listen, when you trying to build that empire, sometimes you just forget. You need to sit yourself down somewhere and get some rest. But I'm taking some food.
Like it's Sunday.
Right? Get me together. It takes a village, okay? It takes a village.
Yes.
Miss Claudia.
And me, I am the operations manager for the LM Experience. So I have had some interaction with some of you at some point of time throughout the conference. But I also run my own business called CFC Creative Writing. And what I do is help people self-publish their Christian books from start to finish. So I do everything from children's books, comic books, testimony books, ghost writing, everything, book cover, everything. So I'm also going to be doing a presentation on the pen of a ready writer. So I'm going to be giving scriptural references so that people know that they're called to write, even if they don't feel like a writer like Miss Lakeisha. Pause. That they, that they can fulfill their call and that God is beside them all the way. So I'm looking forward to working with everyone in this conference and definitely talking to all the attendees as well.
And y'all, I'm excited because my girl likes to be in the background. Okay, like literally. But she is super talented. She knows what she is doing. And so for me, it's a win-win. I have someone that edits all of my stuff, someone who is a copywriter by trade, all of these great things. And so she likes to be in the background. But, I'm glad she's coming out so that she can help other people, you know, who want to write their books. I don't know. She told me I need to come up with 10 chapter titles. And, you know, I got too many bosses on this stage, y'all. I just want to let y'all know. You see I'm getting bullied on this stage right here. So, but I'm so glad that she's out and that, you know, she wants to take part. So we're going to get into some good stuff. So I want to talk to my light workers first. Let's pivot to the light workers. So in this business as an author, a lot of people feel like you just pull out the pen and paper and you just go. What work, background work, and I start with you first, Tony, and then I'll pivot to you, Teresa. What work has to be done before you even pull out this pen and paper and start writing?
That's actually a very good question. And so my piece that I'm specifically speaking on is finding time to write. And that's what I'm going to be sharing with everybody, because in this microwave world, everything is on the up and up, the fast. We want everything done at this time. And
right.
I think a lot of us, we are always looking for more time to do everything. And it's so little, right? So this piece that I'm speaking about is finding more time to write. But I think you have to be in a mental capacity, the right mental space to even begin to put pen to paper or your fingertips to a computer. I think that's where we get, if I can be honest, I think that's where a lot of our holdups, our hangups come from. We're not in the right mental space to allow ourselves to be free. And sometimes you just got to just start writing. You might not have a concept, but start writing something. And that opens the door for your project, your next great thing. If you met Teresa, what do you say, Teresa?
Absolutely. I agree with that completely. But also the first thing, you have to believe that you're a writer. You have to believe that you're an author. So before you can do anything or be anything, you have to believe that you are that. And I think that's where I struggled with my very first book. Like I wrote it. It was very easy for me. I did it while I was getting my master's degree. So it was an outlet. So it just poured right out. But when it was finished, I was like, what happens next? Like, what do I do? Because I was still viewing myself as a teacher. I was teaching at that time, and I wasn't looking at myself as an author. So I had to reprogram my mind to become an author.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I think I struggled with that when, you know, I got invited to speak at this conference. I was like, wait, I'm not a right. Oh, wait, yes, I am now. I just made something. Yes, I am. I'm like, oh, you have to literally transition yourself. It's like, I'm a writer. Yeah, I am a writer now. It's like you literally transition yourself actually being in the position where you saw yourself now. You know, so it's when I talk about that mental concept, that mental space that you're in, you actually have to feel it and believe it. So I'm with you, Teresa. Thank you.
Can I make a comment, Lakeisha? So I think it's really important that we recognize who our audience is, because then when we know how our story can greatly impact someone else, it could bring them out of something that we don't want them to go through, or it can help them lift to a level and go through some of the things that you didn't have to go through. And when you begin to think about your audience and that's in your heart, it helps you see yourself as a writer and an author, because you know who you're writing your story for. So I think both of your points were excellent.
Right. I love that. I think that's so key when you even think about, like, you know, just what it is that you want to do. I think we have a problem sometimes as brown people. We have a problem saying what it is. Recently, I didn't even know Blogger had tweeted about me, and somebody was like, "Girl, you on Twitter?" I was like, "For what? I didn't do nothing. Why am I on Twitter? Why am I on Twitter?" But it was actually talking to Claudia, and she was like, "Girl, Blogger just tweeted about you. They just did a post about you." And I'm like, "They did, didn't they? They did. They talked about me." So you're right. Like we don't stay in that space where we belong. Like we won't claim it. We won't claim it. I'm an author. Okay, you're an author. Own that.
Yeah, I think sometimes we don't as an author until we make the document. And so for me, I had to take it and just write because that's what I love to do. And I know that my writing not only touching children, it was touching women, it was touching men. So I just took the dollar out of it. And I'm like, you're an author every day. That's part of
Right.
the back here.
Yes.
Yeah.
There
We
go.
gonna get
I love
to
that.
that. Yes, ma'am.
I love that. One piece I want to also touch on, and so like I'm a speaker, I'm a motivational speaker, I'm a life coach. You know, it's easy to speak, and so translating your words from your audience that you do every day is a little different than putting it on paper. And I think some of us, a lot that we struggle with is that imposter syndrome. Well, I want to be like Teresa, bro. I want to be like Lakeisha. Or, you know, or Aisha, you know, I want to be like that specific writer or that specific speaker. You have to own who you are and everything that you do right now.
Right.
As you are saying right now. I'm sorry, don't get me started. Lakeisha,
You are. I was gonna say, y'all, we need to go just past the collection plate already, because bro man already about to like take us out. So we're gonna pivot to you, sis. I know you got some bad weather going on, and I want you to get a chance to share a little bit about what it feels like to be a first-time author. What does that feel like?
Honestly, it scared the hell out of me at first, because I was like, well, I'm not really an author. I just wrote a couple of words. I didn't write a whole book. Like, I just participated in a portion of a book. And my other half was like, nah, you an author, sis. I don't know what you think, but you an author now. Like, you an author. I can brag about you and say you an author now. And I'm like, well, yeah, I guess. He was like, nah, you an author. You need to own, like you were saying, own that. And at first I didn't, because I look at myself as the person that makes products that helps people take care of skin care, that teach someone about taking care of their skin the best way. And not just for adults, but for kids also, and just how to take care of themselves. So when I took and I put it in a book, it was like, wow, I really did something that I didn't know I could do. And always wanting to keep my private stuff private, it was hard to go in and talk about some trauma that I had and how I dealt with it and how it could help others deal with it. I never thought of being an author could help other people. I always looked at authors as, you know, they write something that I like to read, but I never thought of it like on my end of what I went through and my traumas and my tribulations could help someone else in the future, or, you know, when they read the book. So it's very exciting. It's new. I can't say I'm going to do a whole lot of it, but there's some things I would like to do now that I got that little writing experience in me.
Right. You bring up a good point, because I'm finna pivot over to our keynote, who wrote a book, because all us church folks up here, I ain't gonna tell your story, Tiara. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna let you do it. I tell your story when people ask me about, you know, people I know. I'm like, oh, my homegirl wrote a book, because, so go tell your story, because I want us church folks to hear this one.
Yes, ma'am. So I think the one you're talking about is Life After Loss, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that was my third book, and it was a story about in 2016 I miscarried twins. And the reason I wrote the book, number one, my mother challenged me to be the resource I needed when I was going through my grieving process. Because when I was dealing with the miscarriage, I searched high and low. There was no Christian response. I couldn't find not Nan sermon. And you know, and just really looking for, like, what am I supposed to do with this grief? And all Google could tell me was, it takes time. What am I supposed to do in this time? Like, I didn't want to passively grieve. I wanted to get it done, go through the whole process so that I can continue and move forward in life. And so I wrote the book to be a resource, to be able to say, try this. This worked for me. This didn't work for you, but it might work for you. And provide actionable things that you can do to go through that grieving process. Because unfortunately, 1 in 4 women have suffered the loss of miscarriage, but we don't talk about it.
Right.
And because we don't talk about it, we feel like when you're going through it, you feel like you're the only person who does. Because we don't talk about it. And so I wrote the book really to just put it out there. So not only how do I process my grief, but how do I support people through that process? Because I also realized my mama didn't know what to say. you know, she had her own grieving process. Everybody who was hoping for those twins to make it and had to grieve their loss has a grieving process.
Right.
And as I've become more open about my experience, I hear people say, "Oh, well, my so-and-so had a loss," as if they're not entitled to grief. No, that was your niece, that was your nephew, that was your cousin, sibling,
Right.
whatever. Everyone who was wanting that child to make it has a grieving process. And
Right.
that's okay. We just have to know what to do with it, because grief is such a tricky emotion.
Yes.
And so that whole book is dedicated to, like, how do you create life after loss? Like, what does that even look like?
Right.
And kind of going back to when we were talking about the first book. So my first book, it's called 23 and Finally Loving Me. That was scary. It is scary to put out your first book. And my
Mhm.
first book is a memoir. And it started as a journaling process where I really and truly was just writing to get it off of my chest from a therapeutic perspective.
Right.
And then 2 years later realized, like, oh, these words can help somebody, because
Right.
it talks about my issues with my daddy issues. It talks about my challenges with my family. It talks about
Mhm.
dating and love and friendships, and just really processing, how do you begin the process of self-love? And so it
Right.
goes through all of it, right? But the hard part was, who will accept it, right? Like, who's really
Mhm.
going to read this book? And will it actually help people? And then also the backlash of family members who recognize, like, and they may have a different perspective of the story, right? Like, I told it from my lens. If you want to tell your lens, you can.
You got yeah. Right.
That's
You.
that is within your rights.
Yeah.
But really just understanding that my truth can actually help somebody. And that
Right.
was worth the sacrifice of the backlash that I may have gotten from individual family members. Right.
Right.
And like, when I get people who come up to me and be like, I needed this,
It was
that's
right.
what makes it worth it to me.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
it is. And it may be tough, it may be uncomfortable conversations. Like, I literally published a book in 2017 and I'm still getting some backlash. You know what I mean? So but to me, it's worth it if it
Right.
helps even just one person. It was worth
Right. 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 I was like, she got to tell her own story, because she was on the podcast and told, and I was wait, the church folks told you what?
Oh,
Like, you
yeah.
gotta stop that.
Yeah, so I lost the twins 3 weeks apart. And in that time period, I got, oh, well, you're still young. You can have another. Oh, well, at least you have one more baby, you know, and ended up losing both of them, first of all. And then the number one thing that I hear a lot from the Christian community is, it was in God's plan. All of that may be 100% factual. And I am currently 8.5 months pregnant with my rainbow baby. So it is absolutely true, right? Like, I can have another kid. It was in God's plan. All of those things are true. But when someone is grieving, you have to understand how they're going to receive that.
Right.
Because what I interpreted was, I serve a God that could have saved my twins and chose not to.
That part.
And that damaged my relationship with God, and I had to eventually work through that process. So if you don't have anything to say, and that whole chapter dedicated to supporting people through their process gives you options. Like, instead of saying this, try this. You know what I mean? Like,
just shut up. I'm sorry, boss. Just shut up.
But don't feel like you have to have the answers. It's okay.
Right.
And just, one, read the book, but two, like, if you are struggling to find the words and you feel like you have to say something, ask, I see you're hurting. How can I best support you?
Right.
I want to show you that I'm here for you. What do you need from me? Because I promise you they know the answer, but when you're too busy forcing your answer on the next person, they don't have the strength to fight against your answer. They're just like, all right, whatever. Like, it's very hard to self-advocate when you're going through a grieving process. So if you really want to be there for that person, ask them what they need from you. Don't tell them what they should, could, would, any of that, especially if you've never been through that exact scenario.
Exactly. So true. Kaisha, you sounded like you resonated with that.
Been there and needed the book when I went through it. You are so absolutely right. When you go through something like that, that others haven't experienced, there's some things, you know, that I know that I've never experienced, especially when it comes to death of different family members, that I would never put my place in to try to empathize, because how can you? So I've been in that place where I was on my 8th failed pregnancy, and was believing God and knew that the Lord had a plan. But because it was the 8th and he gave me my rainbow baby, so I thought I was healed and fixed. And so I was like, okay, well, he told me the book to write. I'm not an author, y'all, and I never wrote it. Conviction. But I'm like you, Lakeisha, me and you need to do some writing. But I didn't write the book. But during that last miscarriage, and the ability was, you know, basically, oh, I can't have kids now. Great. But God has a plan, and I didn't understand it. But that's how this business that he did give me, I saw purpose later. Like you said, purpose came way after. But the first person I helped her publish her book as a self-published author came during, it was literally 2 weeks after I had my surgery. And that's the only thing to keep me from a deep state of depression and trying to figure out why, God, why? Yeah. And so I'm with you on that. I didn't produce a book out of it. I helped someone else with her things, so that way, otherwise I would be nuts right about now. So I needed your book. There was no resources. There was nobody who I could lean on to say, you know, what I needed to hear. And maybe I didn't need to hear anything, just to know someone else went through it and they're okay. And I didn't have it then. So I will be getting your book, because there's a place in my heart. Like I said, I support the author. And community, I need to bring a community together for what you've written. It's in me. I feel it. So look, now we attached. And I don't really have a reason to be here other than to be like, what y'all doing? So I can, and you know, help in any way. So
yeah. And that's the beautiful thing. Like, I absolutely found purpose from my pain as well, right? Like, it's not that those statements are inaccurate. It's just not helpful in those moments. And so really just thinking about, like, even if it's 100% valid, even if you got scripture to support what you're trying to say, really just put yourself in the shoes of another person. And really think about, like, okay, yes, I can have another, but that doesn't replace the loss of my twins. I still to this day think about those babies. You know what I mean? So it's like, I would just caution you to not find answers and instead ask questions.
Yeah, be quiet, like, for real. So what I take, ladies and gentlemen, is that books are healing. So I'm gonna go to you, Lala, and then Dr. Erica, I want you to kind of piggyback. What place did you find yourself in when you felt like, okay, I need to write this book? You got Heal the City. Dr. Erica, you help people get this out of them, you know, to help them even when they're with a doctorate. So Lala, I'll start with you first. Like, what was that about? Was it about you, or was it really about somebody else?
So when it came to Heal the City and what I did with Heal the City, because you know I'm a little bit extra and I'm a little bit different. So specifically for tonight, I was thinking about the beauty in your story, the healing, the ugly truths that we have to deal with, and how we're so much more alike than we are different. So guess what? Because I'm a poet by trade, right? I have over 300 poems that are sitting right now. And I use poetry as a part of my healing, because I could be whoever I wanted to be in my poetry. I could escape from the molestation. I can escape from the low self-esteem. I can escape from the suicide attempts. I can escape from the time that I was in the mental health institution for 2 weeks of my life. 3 weeks of my life. So I could escape the domestic violence and all those things that are associated with what I ran through. And poetry was my escape. And when I understood the power in my voice and the beauty in telling my story, even the dark parts of my story, how that heals people, that changed my life. And Heal the City actually came out of my own necessity, because I was molested multiple times by multiple men in my life. But the one thing that came out of that healing was the person that initially molested me this year this year apologized to me face to face for the trauma. So that brought me full circle in my life. And once I was able to talk about those things and to receive the freedom from that, then I could be me. Then it could just kind of flow out of me like a river of life. So I wrote this for tonight. It's quick, short. And it says, hey, it's Lala. There's beauty in your story, beauty in the gory parts of you. The ugly parts of you are quite beautiful, you know, the parts of you that others try so hard not to see through. They coin you translucent as light attempts to pass through you, while others try to bounce off the surface of you, only to bury you or bend you or origami style into you. Refuse, reuse, and abuse take your kindness for weakness and then tweak it into their version of your strength. So that is to say, there is beauty in your story, and nobody can tell your story like you can. So once you understand the things that hinder you, the self-doubt, the self-sabotage, the I can't do it, I don't have the resources, everything that you need is in your hands. You don't have to be like anyone else. Be you. People are looking for the authentic, the raw, the real, the transparent, the people that are not afraid to get out there and say, you know what, I'm ugly. This is my ugly truth, but it's beautiful because it's me and it's my truth. I can listen to you and say, you know, I know about the loss, 8 pregnancies, 3 live births. I get it. And I get the, you know, I didn't understand what we did to people when we said, well, you know what, they're in a better place. What if their better place is here with me?
That part.
Those type of things that we have to think about in our healing journey. And there's so many people walking through trying to heal people that are hurt and that are stuck. So I think that's what Heal the City was for me. It came out of my place of, it came out of my own necessity for healing. And so when I understood that I was able to go into a crowd of people fearlessly now and speak about my trauma and it not be who, it was something that happened to me, it wasn't me. So when I understood that and it clicked, now I can understand other people when they're walking through their pain, and I can accept them where they're at and then meet them at their place of need and then give them over to the people that can assist them and not hold. Some of us hold on healing like it's our birthright, and it's not. We have to allow people to heal, and we have to share that. And then we have to break the stigmas with Black and brown communities when we, you know, when we talk about healing and then going to a psychiatrist, and you can pray about it and take medication. You can pray about it and go to a psychologist. So just, you know, giving people outlets of, to number one, to tell your story. Heal the City, give platforms for people to tell their story. Healing the world, one city at a time, one person at a time, through telling our stories.
I love it, y'all, and I've been on there and told my story, so y'all need to connect with Lala for real. Dr. Erica, you do so much, you know, like especially the hard work you do with cancer patients, alopecia, like.
Yes. So it's hard to follow up behind Lala. For real. So I just have a little bit to say. Behind Lala, but you know, honestly, my second book was a children's book, and my second book was called My Brother Has Sickle Cell. And you know what that was about was it was written from kind of like my younger son's voice about his older brother, but it was really one of the things that I realized when dealing with sickle cell with my son, going to the hospital, being in the emergency room, being hospitalized, is that nobody was talking about it. I would go around in the waiting room and the other areas to talk to other parents about how they feel, what they think, what are they doing. And it was almost just like, we don't talk about it. So I started looking, and the internet wasn't all that, you know, because I wrote my book in 2014. I didn't see any children's books really about sickle cell. So I wrote the book from a kid's perspective. But what I realized once I wrote the book was published and it was out there, all these parents started calling me like, wow, thank you. This is so helpful. My kids didn't understand why one kid has sickle cell, the other kid doesn't. One kid's in the hospital and the other one's not. So I felt like, man, when I wrote it, I didn't know the impact. I wrote it because I, like, my son and I needed to put it on paper. This is how we're feeling. My younger didn't understand why his brother was always in the hospital and why he's not, and you know, why these things are happening. So with that being said, I realized that, wow, you never know the impact that you have on somebody else's life. The other thing for me was that I didn't think anybody would be interested in the book. I felt like I'm writing it, I'll put it out there, it'll never go anywhere, nothing will ever happen. And that's not what happened. And so, you know, to this day, I'm thinking about, you know, following up maybe a second children's book, figuring it out, find out what's happening. Do you have the resources that you need? Because sickle cell obviously is a disease that impacts who? Us, people of color, underserved, people in the community that don't have health insurance, benefits, all these things. So I think I want to go a little bit deeper because I do feel like people are still not talking about it. You know, we have a month, sickle cell has a month just like Black History. It's bigger than 1 month. Sickle cell is not a 1 month thing. September is sickle cell month. No, every month is sickle cell awareness month. Just like it's Black History Month. So, you know, that's my take on it. The flip side of that really quick, helping women with alopecia, cancer, chemotherapy, and hair loss. That's a big thing that I'm trying to figure out how I want to put this all together. I think what I'm going to do is just do interviews, talk to people. My clients tell me everything, their stories, how it impacts them. I have women who have lost their hair and their husbands divorced them. I have women who have received cancer diagnosis and their husbands left them. I have women who wear wigs and their children won't be seen in public with them. These are real things that real people are dealing with. So I figure people don't want to talk about it. We'll put it in the book. We'll get it out there. It's going to help somebody.
It'll help somebody. Oh my gosh, I love that. Like, that is the whole premise. Now I'm going to pivot to my two publishers up here, Claudia and Kasia. When people come to you with these stories, I mean, first, for one, what do you do with them as a publisher? But secondly, if they're unsure, if they need that light work, like our two professionals here talk about, how do you help them in that process? I'll start with you, Kasia.
Okay.
And then I'll give it to you.
So the special work that I do that is divinely assigned to me comes in the way of they somehow got the story out. They are not by any means ready to release it, but somehow they got the story out. Specifically, I believe that they're all divinely assigned to me, like there is a divine alignment and they are magnetically drawn to me. This I know because it's something that God just told me they would come, and they all have the same story. The thing that I do, especially, you know, as they were talking about the light work, you know, we have to understand that light attracts light, right? So that spreads. And so when the story is passed over to me, literally it is given to me as if it is just full of darkness and the shame and the guilt and the frustration, all of those layers of what they went through to write it literally is covering up all the work. There is a special grace that I believe God has given me to sort through all of that and get to the light in the story, to get to the truth, to get to the testimony, to get to everything that you guys are talking about from a healed place. So when I get that story, I'm not really dealing with the author. I'm dealing with the story. I'm dealing with what I'm literally going into their past, and I know how to pray. So I pray through their story because there's places that they haven't been healed from. There's places that that are still locked and they don't even know. It literally, I'm reading between the lines to help see, you know what, this place right here was hard for them to write. Perhaps Claudia understands, but when you're reading, or those of you who have read your story or other people's story, you can read something and you're like, oh, that was so hard to get through. And you can read something else and I was like, oh, that just read so easy.
Right.
There you can see like they had a hard time getting through this part. And so it really, with me, it's not even the person, like I said, it's so much dealing with their story. It's so much dealing with the light. I kind of forgot your original question, but this is the road that I'm taking. the route I'm on, and you can't pull me off. But that's what, with what you said, that's what I came up with to say. And I just feel, whoever needs to know that, it's hard to release it. And
Right.
my job specifically is to help that process. I'm dealing with stories that, when I tell you, written together, not a line nor a break nor a paragraph, possibly even given to me via, a whole text message. They literally, it was like, okay, fine, there's the words and I'm done. That's how I receive it. Girl, I kid you not. I'm serious. I'm telling you. That's why I know my people are my people. I have a grace for my people. Because other people will be like, oh no, you need to at least put some periods and commas. I don't know where to begin or to end. But it's something special in that. I'm serious. It's something special. But I agree with the light. It takes a certain person to connect with another person and find where that light is. Because anyone else, if they're not the right person, they won't see it. They'll just see the darkness. So I probably didn't answer your question. I pray I did. But you can restate it.
You did, sis. You did know. Claudia.
Well, I agree a lot with Kaisha. I mean, when I first work with any clients, one of the first thing I do is they get to know me, I get to know them, and before we do anything, we pray. I mean, for 3 days, and I think that's the beauty of me running a Christian business. I invite Holy Spirit in and say, Holy Spirit, you tell me what you want me to do, because, a lot of times, people want to write their story, but God is still taking them through pieces of it. And so you have to, as a publisher, be able to recognize certain things and say it strategically as not to discourage them, but to encourage them to come through. So for instance, I have a book that I've been working on for a year with one of my clients, and she checks in with me every now and then, but every time she starts to write a new chapter about her story, something happens in her life that tests her majorly in that particular area. And she has to learn the lessons in order to teach it to someone else. But that's her process. You know what I mean? And so you have to be open to the process of whoever you're working with. Like Kaisha said, some of your writers may be texters. Some of them may be writers. I've had books that I've turned into like full-fledged books that were sent to me in handwritten pictures. You know what I mean? That's why I'm saying anybody can write. We have dictation to text apps now. So, it's a matter of just seeing the diamond and saying, okay, Lord, how can I, what do I need to do in order to bring this out of them and then bring it to the audience that they're here to bless? You know what I mean? And what can I do to polish it up and make it look amazing? So yeah, like especially in the process of ghostwriting, I'll have people who say I speak better than I write. You know what I mean? And so I've had one person who was an amazing speaker. She's an amazing writer too, but she needed the confidence to know she was an amazing writer. And so I helped her ghostwrite her first book, an amazing story, a story of a woman who, as a young girl got married to a kingpin drug dealer. He ended up they lived a life, with their kids. And then he ended up getting arrested, went to jail, and she's trying to pick up the pieces of her life. And then God calls her to him in ministry. And she's like, what now? And so, I had to pull out. I had to know the questions to ask. I had to say, what were you feeling in that moment? What was happening? When, where, how, why? You have to engage the reader as well through their senses. So, it does take a very special person to know how to gently pull it out. It's almost like birthing a baby. Because when I hold a book that I've had my hands on, I literally feel like it's another one of my babies. And I got them downstairs. So if y'all hear them in the background, I apologize.
I'm not going to play with them tonight, y'all.
But yeah, you just need the special part. You need the right person, not just a company who's out there just trying to make money off your vision, but someone who really, really cares, who really can and knows how to polish it and make it marketable in the marketplace.
See, if y'all ain't got y'all tickets, y'all need to come get all of this right here. Because, listen, I'm over here like, okay, Lord, I don't want to be bothered with no book right here. But listen, I'm with my girl Lala. Teresa, I'm coming to you, but I want to say this. On my other platform, Racial Disruptors, I bring on guests and we talk about Black in America. We talk about issues that plague us in America. And I recall one show where I was talking, I don't know where it came from, but I said the difference between me and Breonna Taylor was that somebody else told her story. She didn't get to tell her story. Not somebody else is writing her story. And so I think we were talking in that moment about being vocal and being out front, and that it's okay for people to write biographies about you, but what have you said about your story? What has someone else, in contrast to what somebody else has said? We don't know the full story about Breonna's entire life. We know what happened in that moment, and I don't want to take away from that, but what kind of person was she? How nice and kind was? What was her dreams? What were her aspirations? Nobody knows, other than the people who she may have communicated some things to. But what if there was a story in her that didn't get told? Because guess what? She was like me, saying, oh, I don't want to write a book, or I don't have a desire to write a book. It just made me think about that as I listened to all of y'all talk about telling your story, that sometimes, more often than not, nobody knows our story. They don't know our story. They only know what they can pull from, Google, because that's like my homeboy. Google my homeboy, what we can get off of there, But I think y'all make a really, really good point, which now is why I'm about to pivot to Miss Teresa, because we've been talking about this while back here. Nikki, I got some questions for you too as a first-time author, because I want to know how you got there. But Teresa, let's talk about this while back here, because them post-it notes, number one, is neat. And you got some work. You got lots of words on there.
Yes.
A lot.
So I moved into, I'm in an apartment now, but prior to moving here, I was in a house for 12 years. And I was born highly spiritual, highly in tune. I have a lot of spiritual gifts. And as you begin to grow spiritually, your body begins to change, your mind begins to change. And I remember, like, every night for probably 18 months, I would get woken up at 2 a.m. and I just would hear messages. And I began to write on my walls in permanent marker because I needed to see it every day. Now I'm in an apartment and I can't write on my walls. So I use, I get up, I get a Post-it note and I put it on a Post-it note and I stick it here. One of my go-to stick-it notes is, well, let me say this first, give a little back information before I say that. Once I wrote my first book, I was 30 years old when I wrote it and published it, self-published. I began to notice that my circle began to change. I had to let things go, and people wanted to let me go because now I was this author. And I had a lot of guilt. And I didn't understand what that guilt was. Like, I don't want to let these people go, but they're not fitting into where I am now. And I even went to a therapist about it. I'm like, I don't understand. Why do I feel so guilty? And she said, well, that's called survivor's guilt. You're surviving and you feel bad because you're leaving them behind. One of the mantras I have on my wall is let go of guilt. It's a useless emotion. Like, you do anything with the guilt, it's not going to change the people. It's not going to change you. So let it go. So I'm very introverted. Whenever I'm feeling like I need a word, I need inspiration, or I just need to be reminded of who I am, I go to this wall. First thing in the morning, I'm at this wall. Yeah.
I love that. And you and I, in your segment, we're going to talk about this novel that you got. I ain't going to give them no tidbits, but baby, I was reading a few chapters. Who child? 50 Shades? What was it called? Baby, I ain't got nothing on my girl right here because she got, but I love how very skilled, and although it is an adult novel, it is very tasteful. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's written, but I ain't gonna give them out. They're gonna have to go get it. But I love that, and I love how you talk about that guilt, because I think we all have that. Nikki, let's talk to you. Tony, I'm coming back to you because I know you a light worker like Teresa. I want you to get ready because we need to talk about that guilt when we get successful. Because we don't know how to take it when we made it and other folks ain't made it too. So let me pivot to Nikki first. Talk about this first time. Like, what was your process? Did you experience those emotions? And like now, where are you with novel number 2, number 3? I mean, what you gonna do? Say it's the person who ain't wrote one.
Well, you know what? It has piqued my interest to tell my entire story instead of part of my story, only because I had, after I sent it out to a couple of people, I had 2 people in particular that reached out to me and said, I went through something so similar, and your words and just what you said in the book really helped me through some things. And in my head, I was like, dang, I inspired somebody to, want to heal themselves and want to be better for themselves. So it piqued my interest to want to do more. I'm not a writer. I will send this stuff to you like with no periods, no commas, no nothing. You hear me? And I'll be like, can you help me out with all these words that I got on these papers? But I really know now that self-care is not just about products. It's not just about telling someone something. Like, when you dig deep and you show that you're just as normal as anybody else, you can go through things like anybody else. You're human. Right. Nobody has a perfect life. Everybody has been through trauma. And this particular stage, when I went through this trauma, I never healed myself. Like, I went from almost dying and then almost dying and losing close family members like days apart, that I was losing myself.
Right.
And people, it happens so many times where we don't heal ourselves, especially the Black and brown community. We kind of just go, we're supposed to just deal with it and just keep going, and ain't nothing supposed to bother you. You strong and you can get through anything, but it affects you. Everything affects you. And I think that writing books really helps other people that don't really want to tell their story or don't really want to put themselves out there and want to stay private, but they still want that help. Right. And they might not have the funds to go and see a therapist or speak to someone. So I think it's very therapeutic for me to do it fully and not just the way I did it before with just one paragraph. But I'm proud of my paragraph. I'm an author out here.
Well, that's what, and I was finna say, don't be talking about you ain't no writer, because I'm finna pivot to my boy Tony. So get on her, Tony, because she say she not a writer. And didn't you just talk about that whole mindset thing? Get her.
That is true. And I you know what? I'm from the mindset and that guilt piece, right? That guilt piece speaks to a lot of us. It speaks to a lot of us. And I had to come to terms with that, with this, my first book. So like I said, I'm a motivational speaker, life coach, but this is actually time I actually wrote something. Right. And I you can't sell therapy. I'm a therapist, right, by training. I can't sell therapy, but I can sell things associated with my brand. I sell sweatshirts, I sell hoodies, I sell hats, t-shirts, and I had to come to terms because only one person in my whole family brought a shirt. And I said, okay, when I write this book, I hope my family supports me in a different way. One person out of my whole family bought a t-shirt or a sweatshirt, right? Nobody else. So I said, when I write this book, I hope to see something different than what was manifested before with something simple as a t-shirt. And so I felt guilty because I'm like, what am I doing for them not to feel support? But everybody else around me is supporting. Everybody else wants to pour into you. But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, there's this thing about shame versus guilt. Guilt says, I am guilty because of what I did. And shame says, I'm guilty. I'm shameful because who I am. Shame versus guilt. Guilt, I am guilty because of something that I did. Shame is I am bad because who I am. My mom has no money, so I'm ashamed of that. Right. As opposed to being a thief, I'm guilty of something. It's hard to take away shame maybe I don't need to be this person. Maybe I'm not this person because I can't be great because my family says I'm a piece of and I can't be nothing. I'm shameful versus guilty.
Right.
We hold on so many things that we simply need to let go.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter who supports you. It doesn't matter who is for you, because sometimes everybody ain't meant to go where you're going.
Right.
Everybody is meant to go to this next chapter with you. And I'm talking about chapter. Okay, we're talking about this writers conference. They're not supposed to go to this next chapter with you. Some people are only for a season, and you don't. I don't never lose in life. I either win or I learn.
Yeah.
I don't lose. Life was set up for me to win, and if I don't win, I learn. That's a win-win situation. So I totally understand where you're coming from. Shanique, you need to understand all that you are in this moment and honor it. One paragraph, one sentence, one book. Because now where you're at is going to take you where you want to be.
Right. And I'm proud of her. She is introverted. She's super introverted, y'all. So I am proud of her for coming out of her shell and doing that. And I love how we celebrate, each other. We need to do that more. We need to celebrate each other. Dr. Erica, I'm gonna pivot to you and Tiara. I want y'all to think about, Tony talked about guilt, Teresa talked about that guilt. Nikki talked about not really feeling, being an author. As people who, you're on the college level, Dr. Erica, I don't know how you do it with them children at that age, but it's what it is. How does guilt play a part in what you do, in the work that you do at those levels? I mean, you pumping out books like mixtapes, so I don't know.
No, yeah, it's tough, right? I think a part of me, I want everybody to win. Tony just hit on something. I had to realize probably the latter half of my career, everybody ain't gonna make it. And the tough part for me is when these students, I asked every one of my students, what is your reasoning for wanting to get this PhD? What's your why? Because it requires you to write a book. Many of them want to do it because I'll be the first in my family. I got to show somebody up. They told me I was going to fail. I want to put the plaque on the wall. Typically, those are the people who don't make it. You have to have a why. And even though that is your why, because that's what you said, how are you going to be? Because the idea here is you need to be passing torches. You need to be sharing your knowledge. You need to be helping the next individual. You need to be, and if that's not what you're doing this for, it's really for the wrong reason. And so I used to feel bad when I would have to literally, we call it Ewing out a student, but kind of letting them know like, hey, you're not cut out for this, got to let you go. Doesn't mean that they can't write a book on their own. They can talk about whatever they want to talk about, but for this particular process, it's very difficult. And so I take it very seriously because it's a lot of time. I'm reading dissertations every night. We're talking about 200, 300, 400, 500 pages. I'm sleeping everywhere. And I got more than 30 students that are trying to write a book. So we talking about, and they're writing from A to Z. But a lot of times I have to make that hard decision. Like, you know what? You're just not going to make it. And perhaps suggest some other alternatives. So it's really a process, right? But I'm really big on what are we going to do to help the next person? Who's next? How are we passing that torch? What are we going to do after we get this to help somebody else get to wherever they need to get to? It's not about us. I've done it. I earned a PhD years ago. It's not about me anymore. Now it's about me helping the next and the next and the next and the next. That's it.
Exactly. Oh, I love it. Oh, y'all preaching over here. Go ahead, Minister Tiara.
Listen, now I'm gonna want my collection plate, okay? Let me know when you're ready for my cash out. No, I 100% agree with Dr. Erica. one of the things I work with, like on the foundational steps, when I work with my business coaching clients, we need to figure out your why. It cannot be superficial. It cannot be, oh, because it's the latest trend. Like, you need to know what your why is. Like, because that's going to push you through the moments that you don't feel like doing it.
Right.
Hello, somebody. But I think the part that a lot of people don't talk about is there's a lot of self-work in self-publishing. Like, you can't just put out a book. Like, it requires you to really dig deep. You gotta process, you gotta deal with it, you gotta face it, right? Like, there's some stuff you really you have to do the self-work in order to publish some of these topics. And in order to, you can publish a book, right? Like, anybody can just publish whatever. But to publish an impactful book,
bam,
you have to do the self-work.
There we
You
go.
really do. You really do.
Yeah.
And
That's
this is,
true.
I mean, I've been in therapy as long as I've been legal. You know what I mean? Like, it's an ongoing journey. It's a process. And even right now, like, my life is good, but I still go to therapy every 2 weeks to deal with my history, to deal with my baggage, to deal with the things that, you know, I've experienced in my past, but also to prepare for my future.
Right. Right.
As a motivational speaker, I carry a lot of emotional weight. I need somewhere to put this weight down.
You ain't lying, girl. Yes.
You know what I mean? And so because of that, I take my self-care routine very seriously. Okay.
Right.
I'm getting massages every 3 weeks. I journal every morning. I'm in therapy every 2 weeks. I get my hair and nails done whenever I feel like it. It's always in the budget. Okay. But it's because it's important to me. That's what self-care looks like to me. But understanding that self-care and really doing that self-work is necessary.
Right.
Like, it really is. Like, the other day, my boyfriend was like, you always writing at 5 a.m. Listen, I'm up. My brain is working. I got things to get off my chest. But I'm a better human when I'm taking care of myself first. Then I can be there for everybody else for the rest of the day. But those first 2 hours of the day, they're for me.
Yeah.
And having that in my routine on a consistent basis and making sure that I'm taking care of myself, making sure that I'm challenging myself to do this self-work and really dig deep allows me to help other people in a more impactful way.
Bam. Yes. I love that. I love that. You said something that was key. I'm going to pivot to my authentic brand panelists, and that's Nikki, Claudia, and Kaisha. Claudia came up with this amazing panel, y'all. Like, I was blown away because it's like everybody and mama want to be an author. But what about your authentic author brand? Because your book is a brand. Part of my presentation is for you to take that book and make it into an experience, because it's a book on a shelf until you get it out to people or until you make it an experience for people. But let's pivot to the authenticity of, number one, your story. Because I ain't going to go there because some folks have stole other people's stories. I'm not going to go there. But number two, but about being an author as well. Nikki, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts about being authentic now when people ain't who they post to be?
Well, I feel like I know what people expect me to be, but you should never have expectations for other people.
Right.
I don't have expectations for anyone. I have expectations for me. So you can expect me to just be Nikki, the brand of Deja Vu Skin, but that's not what God said. God said, I put you here to do some things. You might fight me on it, but you're still going to do these things. So I'm going to be who I am. And if it's in me to write something to help someone else, because that's what God got me here for, that's what I'm going to do. So you can expect me to be just Deja Vu Skin. I am Deja Vu Skin, but I'm Shaniki Corbett, an author also. And I'm going to give you this work. Whether you like it or not, you're going to get this work. and you're going to respect it. You don't like it, but you're going to respect it.
Right.
I feel it's in me. When you're private, it's hard. My family has been so it's hard for me to say, let me just be authentic and just go out and do this. That ain't me. It take a lot of these journals I got back here. It's full of some stuff that I went through that will make an awesome book, but they just sitting on the shelf because it was just like that was my release. And when you think about it, it ain't my full release. It's just releasing into a book, but it needs to go somewhere else so it can release and shine light on somebody else to do something with themselves. Because people are
healing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And healing is so important. Like I'm still learning. I'm still healing. I ain't all the way there yet. He's still working on me. Because my mom get a little crazy every now and then. So he's still working on me.
I told you my house getting me together.
Listen, my throat chakra is not right.
Oh my God.
But
I love that.
You'll see me post that every now and then too. I be like, when my throat chakra is out of control, I be for real. Cause it be out of control. I just be saying any old thing. My mother be like, what did you just say? And I be scratching my head, but I still be saying it in my,
Right.
But I think that is so important. Like I didn't brand, so because the part of the book that I did, I'm not the brand of that book. I'm a part of that book, but the next one has to be me. It has to be me. Yeah. It has to be all me. And then that was my first, that was an experience, right. and it opened the door to better things, but I needed to be branded for me so that people know that this came from me and they understand that, okay, yeah, all them pictures, she looked like she just doing the thing and it's all cute and it's whatever, she having fun, but there's so much more behind that. And I think people need to feel and take it and learn from it.
Exactly. I'm excited to hear you, sis. I'm excited to hear you. For real. Claudia, look, this was your whole idea.
I sent Tony a message. He had me.
He just sent you a message, boo.
I had to get it right. I had to get back on. I was like, "Ooh, he about to have me in tears. Let me do something."
Woo. I'm sorry.
No, that's what the light did.
That was good tears. That was like a cleansing tears that probably gonna come out eventually. But it's just, everything that everyone is saying here is just, it like touches you in different ways, and you're just like, wow, it touches you and it motivates you to do a little bit more and to just accept who you are.
Right. That's true. Claudia, this was your whole brainchild. Y'all, anything that's named real snazzy is her. I'm going to just go give her flowers right now. It is not me. Okay? That is not me. That is her.
Well, all I have to say is stop apologizing for being you. Like, be authentically who you are. Because can't nobody be you like you. And God has assigned people to you. And they won't hear it from nobody else except you. So some people are literally waiting in the balance just to hear certain things that they might have heard coming out of her mouth and his mouth and this life coach's mouth. But they need to hear it from somebody authentic like you, because that authenticity in you connects to something in them. So stop being scared. Just know that what God has for you is for you, but don't apologize for being authentic. You know what I mean? If you use certain jargon, use that jargon, because it's what makes you you. And your audience, your people who are connected to you that's going to resonate with them. One thing I love about Lakeisha is that even though, we work with her copywriting, she doesn't lose her voice. She has a certain way of talking, and it connects with people. That's why she's so successful. She's not trying to be on here. Hi guys, this is Lakeisha. She's like, baby, baby. And so she wrote a book. The book's gonna come out the same way. Don't get it wrong. We can get you professional. We can get you formal. We can get you some money. We can get you successful. But at the end of the day, that authenticity that's in her and that's in all of you and every person who's called to write a book is specific to you. So be you and don't say sorry. Just go ahead and be you. And that's all I got to say.
Y'all, didn't I tell y'all should be censoring me? Yeah. Now y'all heard her give me permission to just be me, right? So, okay, I got witnesses that she just okay. Kaisha, let's hear like yeah.
Yes. So yeah, well, listen, being authentic and staying true, the thing that I want every person I work with and anyone who is just an author or a writer in general is you have to look beyond a title of I'm an author or I'm a writer or this is you have something in your hands that is literally a part of your identity. And business people get this. Whatever business people put their hands on, they make it a part of their life. Literally everything else falls by the wayside. And that's why business people who are millionaires and billionaires, it becomes their sole identity. So we have to stop seeing it as a little bitty piece in your life, but it is a big piece of your life because everything that you went through shaped you to that point or shaped you to release that story. All of it had to work into who you are. Who you are, exactly as Claudia said, there are people assigned to your voice. So that's biblically stated. And if I didn't know a word of the Bible, it's just true. Not everybody gonna like you, but not everybody need to hear what you got to say, how you went through it. There's someone else who it sounds a little bit better to their ears. They may need a strong voice or they may need a soft voice. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. And that's what you have to remember. So it's your identity. We could say it's a brand, it's a business, however you want to put it together. But in this moment, it's your identity. My thing, I am a good listener. So when I hear the person come to me and they say, this is why I'm writing, and this is on my heart, and I just want to release it. It's a strange thing that happens when that book is done and it looks so good and pretty that they go left, right? So I have to bring them back in like, wait a minute, you said you wrote this for this. I want anyone that I work with, and I tell this to anyone, if I don't work with you, my advice is, just as it was stated, my thing is small, so I can't see your name. I believe it was Tierra, but you've got to know your why. I'm so big on that why because I'm gonna hold you to it. If your motive is wrong in any part of what you do, it will taint everything. And you have to remember, why did you do this in the first place? Because the thing is, most of the people that I work with, they're writing a testimony, they're writing how God helped them through some part of their life. I need you to remember, just like the why you're writing it, why does that person need to read it? Not because you want to be an Amazon #1 seller, not because you want to do a coaching program. What was the why? Because you hurt so bad and you thought you was dying and nobody was there to come get you and you wanted to just help that one person. I got to keep reminding them of that. So I'm a thorn in the side to everybody I work with because I won't let them go astray. But that's my thing, a small portion. I could go on because this is my niche right here, where I really want to just hold everybody in their place, but I won't. One thing I do want to say, while I have my moment to say it, and I believe we were talking to Shamika. I can't see the name. I am so sorry, but I believe that's who we're talking to. That one paragraph, and you're not a writer. Let me tell you something, because it's on my heart to tell you this. Famous quote by a famous man, Dr. Seuss. This is the quote. It says, so the writer who breathes more words than he needs is making a chore for the reader who reads. Here's the thing. When you write more than what anybody needs to understand, you literally, if we understand social media and if we understand how to grab the attention of the reader, we don't even read with words. We're reading with pictures, and you got 15 seconds to capture my attention, really the first 3 seconds, but you've got 15 seconds to capture me in. All it takes is a line, all it takes is a word, all it takes is a paragraph. If you can make the person think, that's all you were called to do. I have someone who took quotes that she wrote for years and she had them all combined and she shot them to me in an email and she goes, I don't know what to do with this. We put that thing together and it turned out to be a 350-page journal on how to find your true self. It doesn't matter how it comes together. If you make a person think, you change their life. So I want you to know, if it's just a paragraph, if you've got many points in your journal and you're just pulling thoughts, a book of thoughts, food for thought, get a person to think beyond their scope and their mind of today, get them to think further out. You literally, like a lighthouse, you cast the light and you just ask them to see where I'm shining. That's all you need a person to do. You've captured them. They will be dedicated to you because you brought them to a place of thinking beyond where they are. So I just want to give you, because a paragraph, that's all you need to write. You made that person think. You did a lot.
Right. Girl, I'm telling you, about to get served over here, sis. A paragraph, a sentence, or whatever. You is a writer. You is a author. And don't even. Now, you connected to Lala. You know Lala don't play that with us. She do not play that with us. Period, point blank. So, Lala, I'm going to ask you and Teresa. When it comes to being authentic, because now we don't see a lot of authenticity out here. You almost don't know what to believe. Is it their representative that has showed up? Or is it actually them that has showed up? So when it comes to writing, is that a choice? Or is it just who you are? Do you have to make the conscious decision to be authentic, or are you just that person anyway?
First of all, there's a quote that says, "The flowers in the field do not worry about the flower sitting next to it. It just blooms." And if that's your mantra, that's your mindset, no matter what anybody else says or does, you are going to be you. If anybody asks me, do I want to do what I want to do? Did I want to do Heal the City? I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't want to do it. God took me kicking and screaming to do this thing because I always hid myself because of what people thought. But you're going to get to a point where you don't care what people say, because I'm that hard-headed person. Some people God can throw a pebble at and hit them across the head and they going to move. I'm a boulder type child. You're going to have to hit me with bricks, boulders, brick and mortar for me to move, right?
Yes.
So if it takes that much energy for me to get up and move, I'm going to do what God tells me to do, and I'm going to be me. The people that are meant to love you are going to love you regardless. When I put my books out, what I had to come to grips with is, like Tiara said, it's my truth. I was ready for my truth. Not everybody else is going to accept my truth. I had people calling me, telling me I was an outright liar, but I was the one sitting in the mental health institution for 3 weeks because I was trying to kill myself because I couldn't talk to anybody because what goes on in my house stays in my house, tried to take me out more than several times. And I'm walking across a platform giving everybody else a place to speak, but I can't be myself because somebody's going to judge me because I have to be this perfect person, and it's tearing me up inside. When it's your time to step out in the light, when God is about to unleash you to the world, you're going to know it's your time, and you're going to know it because you're going to be led. You're going to be pulled to do this thing, and you're not going to care what anybody says. And then when it comes to who's going to support you, like Tony said, when he was shocked because nobody supported, they bought one t-shirt. I got family that's sitting in a city that when I did this, I spent hundreds and thousands of dollars to put an event on, and 3 people in my family showed up for this event.
Wow.
When I needed stuff and I know that they can help with it and they won't do it, I don't worry about those type of things because God is going to send who needs you at that moment, or who needs to support you or sow into you. You're looking at a person that I'm just getting a college degree. I didn't, and I love those educators that are out there that can put that in there, but that wasn't me. That wasn't, I wasn't that person that was gung-ho on this thing because first of all, I was self-sabotaging myself a lot. And I didn't think I deserved a lot of things. I didn't think I deserved to be an author. I didn't think anybody needed to hear my story. I didn't think anybody wanted to hear my story like a lot of people out here. There are books that are sitting in my computer right now that I haven't put out because I haven't found the person that didn't just want to make a dime off me, but they wanted to hear my story. But when the first person that told me, I read page 83 in your book and I threw your book across the room because it messed with me that much, I was like, wait a minute, God. Okay, so maybe I don't have to be this perfect person. Maybe I can speak in my voice, and maybe somebody is going to get it. So when you put that down in your spirit, that you can be you, Nikki, you can be that person, baby, you're going to be gold because you're going to be golden to you.
And they ain't going to be able to touch her.
Not at all. You're going to be like, what? People know who, when I go on Facebook, I'm going to say what I got to say. Look, but I'm going to tell you one thing. Don't go to war where there are no spoils.
Right. That part. I did a post one time that said freedom is on the other side of not giving a F what anybody says.
Yeah.
Like you got to get to that point where you just do not care what they say. And you gonna do you. Ooh, see, Lala, you just started something right there. You just started. Teresa, I know you about to kick. I know you about to round it up. Come on.
Absolutely. So we're multifaceted, we're multidimensional. And one thing about writing, when you pick up that pen and you put it to paper, you can become whoever you want to be. You don't have to steal anything from anyone else because you, in that moment, you're creating a new you. You can be whoever you want to be. My latest book, it's another children's book, but it has 15 different characters. So I got an opportunity to be 15 different personalities. And I was amazed at how many different things just came out of me. And I was just writing being me. I didn't go to Harry Potter's book to try to be her. I didn't go to Star Trek to try to be Star Trek. I sat with that book and I said, you know what? This is going to be your voice with every single character. And then within that, you discover who you are. You grow while you're writing. You become more of you. Like, man, I didn't even know I had this in me. I didn't even know this pain was still here. I didn't know this creativity was still with me. So writing is the way that you become authentic because it's your words, it's your pen, it's your paper. And nobody can take that from you.
Yeah, I love that. I can recall I am a student of Brene Brown. Okay. I done read about all her books. If she on a podcast, if she on whatever she on, guess what? I get an alert because I'm finna listen to her. But I recall one time she had Auntie Oprah on her show. You know, Oprah don't do no interviews, but she was on her show, and I got this quote in my journal. As well as those of us who in Work You, we get a planner. This quote is on my planner every week, and it says, "You cannot live a brave life without disappointing some people. The people who really care for you, who are rooting for your rise, will not be disappointed. The ones disappointed have their own agenda, and their agenda is not aligned with your agenda." So that's to say, you could care less what somebody else thinking. My panelists, and it's just a fraction of them now, we got no greatness just waiting to help you write this book, to help you publish this book, to help you not get got, like Lala said, somebody that just wants to milk off of you because they see the gold mine that you have, but they just want to use and abuse what you have. I am very proud I am glad that everybody that's coming to this stage is a believer, number one. But number two, they also believe in you. They want to help you write this book. They want to help you get your story out. There is no reason why you cannot get this book out. We made the tickets free, y'all. In light of everything that's going on, we just went ahead and made the tickets free because for me, it was more about helping you write this book. When I say there are authors in my inbox, y'all, all the time, like, I got this book, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I have a network of people right here who I can connect you with to help you get that book out. If you want to create an experience out of it, it's me, Claudia, and Lila that's going to help that happen for you because your book is your brand. And we're going to help you be able to do this by, number one, getting your mind together. Number one, we got light workers on here. One of our speakers is Chastity. She talks about reckless alignment. When I say y'all better come ready on Saturday for all of these nuggets these folks are about to drop for y'all, and then on Sunday, we about to really bring it home for you. We definitely want you all to get connected and be a part of this event. So to wrap us up, Tony, I'll start with you. I want you to share what you'll be talking about in the conference and how people can get connected with you.
Thank you. So I think all of us are here. However you got here, you are here for a specific reason. You are here to touch lives that you never imagined before. Just one little piece. When we play small, that is a slap in God's face. Because you're saying you don't trust me to do what I said I was going to do. A promise is still a promise. You know, it doesn't matter when the promise happens. He said, I have a promise for you.
Right.
You decide to play small and not trust who he is in the capacity that he is in your life. I will be talking about how to make time to write. That's why I say make time.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of us, you think you can't make time? Oh, please believe me, you can make a lot of time. So I'm going to be teaching everybody how to make time to write. That big project, that big thing that you had that must come out, that must be released. Because a lot of the things that we write for ourselves is really for other people and how it can impact everybody else connected to you. And so I'm just going to give a couple of Tony's tidbits about making time to write that great thing that's
Oh my goodness, my goodness. Yeah, how can I get connected with you, Tony?
So you can reach me here at Tony Purnell, or you can go to my my business page, Tony Purnell Lightworker, and my Instagram as Tony Purnell Lightworker. On Twitter is Tony Lightworker. So multiple facets for everybody who's social media savvy. And like I said, I just want everybody to shine.
Right. Thank you, Tony. We're so excited to have you be a part. Miss Keynote, Miss Tiara Nicole.
Yes. So just to keep it simple, I plan to talk about the mechanics behind how you go from paper to profit. Okay. So we're going to talk about a lot of how. Like, I can't just tell you what to do. We're going to talk about how you can get it done and how you can overcome a lot of the common challenges people face in the writing or publishing process. I can be found on all social media platforms at Tiara Nicole Riley.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Erica.
Yes. So I'm going to be talking about using your voice, how to use your voice in writing, how to effectively use your voice, making sure that you're using your voice and not someone else's, making sure that when you are preparing to write your book, your story, whatever it is, that it is your creative you. So really focusing on, getting people into the habit of understanding, again, back to what everybody said, your why, and then making sure your why lines up with your voice. And I am also on Instagram as Dr. Gamble, and then also the Dissertation Chick on Instagram.
Love it, love it, love it. Teresa.
All right. I'm going to be doing a book chat with Miss Lakeisha Mosley. We're going to be talking about my first adult novel entitled Revolving Mirrors, Anger, Men, and Sex. It's based on a true story. I sprinkle a little bit of fiction in there, but when you read it, you're going to be like, girl, that was your life? Like, it is. All right.
How can we connect with you social?
Yes, Instagram, Acacia Readers, ACACIA Readers, and also Acacia Natural Remedies, ACACIA Natural Remedies.
Thank you, girl. Thank you, Miss Nikki. Nikki, I know you over there full, but it's all right. We got you, girl.
Listen, I'm coming because y'all didn't inspire me to want to do way what I'm supposed to be on here as the authentic brand panel, but I'm about to be a guest and just be like, well, listen, I want to do this, and this, and y'all inspired me to do this. Like, I'm still obligated to do my stuff too, but I'm gonna teach you how to be authentic to your brand. Or, I'm gonna do all that, but I'm gonna be trying to get these gems that y'all dropping. That's what I'm gonna be getting. So I'm not about to miss it either. I need all of those. Y'all had me about to cry over here, all kind of stuff. Like, I had to turn away from the camera for a little bit, click it off. Y'all didn't even realize I did that, did y'all? See there? Over here in tears. Got my daughter wondering what's wrong with me. But y'all can find me at Deja Vu Skin 18 on Instagram as well as Facebook.
And I'm ready. Y'all got me hot and ready now. I'm ready. I'm gonna need that book too, Teresa. Ooh, yes.
Girl. Okay, I ain't gonna say nothing. Lala, tell us what you talking about and how we can get connected with you.
All right, I'm just talking about the beauty of your story. Like Dr. Seuss says, today you are you, that is truer than truth. There is no one alive that is you are than you. So just use what's in your hand, the beauty of your story. That's what we're going to talk about. So just come prepared to use what God gave you to talk about what you need to talk about.
Oh, yes, ma'am. And how we can get connected with you?
You can find me at Heal the City Inc. on Facebook and Instagram. She Blinked LLC on Facebook and Instagram. Lorinda Andujar on LinkedIn, Facebook. I am Lorinda Andujar on Instagram, and then Lorinda Andujar on I did say LinkedIn, and then at Passions Gate, PASSHUNSGATE at Twitter.
Girl, you got all them. How you remember all that? Because I don't even remember all mine. I got 3 brains.
Look, until I can find someone to manage all this stuff for me.
Girl, you can't have Claudia, but I would tell you, get you a Claudia and a Lila. You can't have them.
She being stingy. Stingy.
But you know I still love you. You know I still love you. Kaisha.
Yes, yes. So I am also on the Authentic Brand, I believe, panel. Or your authentic self is really what it is, and your identity. Yes. So I'm so excited about that, because that is truly the heart and the core and the passion of every person that I think we walk up to or we work with, just who enters our world. And so that is my heart. Any questions that I can help answer, I am there, a source of knowledge. I just have to be asked the question. But for the most part, like I said in the beginning, I don't know who let me up in here, but I'm in here with y'all. So I'm taking what I can get. And I've already was like, where are all my authors that I've worked with? So I definitely will be, they will be up in here, because there's so much to be gained. And now is a time where we cannot afford to miss the move, miss the knowledge, miss whatever somebody is pouring out. We need to have our buckets in. We need to be filling it up. So I'm in here. I'm taking I got my notes. And so I'm gonna have everybody else that I know in there taking their notes too. Anybody wants to contact me, again, my company, my little piece of the pie is True Statement Publications. I can be found on Facebook and Instagram at True, TRU Statement Publications with an S on the end. That's all one word. Or truestatementpublications.com. Clubhouse is a new place to be. I am on there as at Kaisha. That's it, my first name, as you see on the screen. And I was in there early enough to get that. But I am in there because I want to help pray for some authors. I want to help give free advice. I want to help just give direction and just talk. Sometimes you need somebody to talk to and not somebody to sell you. So that's what I'm there to do. So if you ever have a question, my in Clubhouse, my email is on there, my phone number is on there. Ping me, make a private room, let's talk, and let that be that. And then I also have 9 invites if anybody needs a way in. So feel free.
I'm like, what did I look at?
No, people.
But yeah, people.
Right. No. So yeah, that's it. That's me. So thank you so much for having me in here today, you guys. What a blessing. I'm so excited for this weekend. So thank you.
Girl, you deserve to be here like everybody else. So boom. And last but certainly not least, Miss Claudia.
I can be reached. My Facebook page is facebook.com/CSC Edits. My Instagram is CSC Edits as well. I'm not really on Twitter that much. I need to get it together, but I am on Clubhouse under Claudia Kramer. But yeah, it's real easy to find me. I don't post that much, and I'm sure Lakeisha's gonna get me together in that area. I told her I'm more of a background person, but yeah, I'm definitely accessible to anyone who needs help, advice, needs like some coaching as far as like what do I do with this or some concepts. I'm actually starting a birthing coaching program so that I can kind of lead some aspiring authors through the process together, through some of the parts of the process, and then kind of give them individual help, you know, as needed. And of course, as I stated before, with the conference, I will be speaking on the Pen of a Ready Writer, which will be centered around birthing your book, birthing your Christian book, and self-publishing it. And I will also be on the Everybody and Their Mama is an Author panel, how to define your authentic brand. So I'm so excited to just collaborate with everyone this weekend.
And I'm excited, y'all, because all these folks is official, okay? They not bootlegging up here. They got books, okay? And brands. And as you can tell by how they talk, they know what they talking about. This is the conference you need to be in. Like, I'm just saying, I don't know why God gave this to me, but he gave it to me for a reason. And he put the right people right in my space. Literally, I didn't go far to find people for this conference. I think the idea started, me and Tiara had a conversation. She told me, let's do it. I was like, okay, wait, when you dropping that baby? Because I need you to be keynote, you know, before Miss Kayla comes. So what's up? So I just am grateful that I listen to his voice and I do what he tells me to do. Now, I'm like Nikki, I'll be kicking and screaming and then I just be pouting, but he just gonna have to push me. Lala, I'm like you. He gonna have to like literally throw me against the wall and say, didn't I tell you, you know, to do X, Y. And you know how your mama used to put you up against the wall? Yeah. Okay. So sometimes that's me. But I'm trying to be better and listen to his voice when he tells me things. So it is a pleasure. It is an honor to have you all be a part of this inaugural event. It's just a blessing, y'all. I'm bad, y'all. Claudia gonna get me when we get off here. But yeah, I'm just glad to be his servant. And that's what she talking about, his voice. Like if I write a book, it's just gonna be like that. Like we gonna probably have to clean it up a little bit, but you know, that's just the real. That's just the real about the whole thing. So I'm so glad that y'all joined us tonight. Be sure to get your tickets. The link is in my bio on IG. We have 2 separate platforms we're using, and that's a part of this whole thing too. I am an event planner, so I'm going to show you different ways of different things you can use. Friday night is all fun, networking, vendors. Who got vendors at a virtual event? We do. So definitely make sure you stay connected, you stay tuned in, connect with these people. They want to help you get this book out. And I just imagine y'all, the lives y'all are going to touch, that you are going to bless with just what you're doing here. So I am so grateful for y'all tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. And we will see y'all starting on Friday. Good night, y'all.
Good night.